How do you introduce yourself? Hello, welcome back to my YouTube. How are you? I want to sit down today and just film a short, I don't know how short it's going to be, but an introduction video to me, who I am, what I do, why I do what I do. So yeah, I thought we could have a cup of tea together. If you need to pause this YouTube video right now, go make yourself a cup of tea and come back to me and we'll get started. Let's get into it. I'm Emily. I am 26 years old. I am the founder of Perform Within and I'm Irish. If you have come across this YouTube channel by chance, hello, you are very welcome here. I want this video to serve as a way of getting to know me more, getting to know my story. And also, if you're coming from Instagram, you probably don't know that much about me because it's so hard to actually get yourself across on Instagram, I feel. That's why I love long form content. I suppose that is the whole reason why I've created this YouTube channel. So I have my Instagram, but honestly, short form content is rotting all of our brains, and while it is a necessary evil for my business, I don't love it, and I absolutely love consuming YouTube. That is my favorite channel to consume content on. I absolutely love sitting down to one of my favorite YouTubers. It's such a comfort. And it's so much better for our attention span, our brains, to not be constantly just flicking through, getting those tiny dopamine hits, to actually be able to sit here for 20 minutes and just listen to me yap. That's a skill in itself in this day and age, in this world. So yeah, I think it's definitely an exciting move over, and I'm delighted that I've just taken the plunge, because a little fact about me, I actually had a YouTube channel when I was 13, and I used to do crazy nail art. Now obviously I don't do it anymore, these are Biab, but I used to do the maddest nail art on my nails ever, and I set up a YouTube channel called Pretty Polish. Now I think it's deleted. I don't know, maybe I should have a proper look for it, but I'm fairly sure I deleted it. A boy found it and I deleted it, so damn, I got embarrassed. But yeah, I used to film videos of me doing my nails and then chatting, explaining what I was doing and how I was doing it, and I absolutely loved it. And honestly, I've always been a YouTube girl. Some people that I've always watched, I used to be mad into makeup, so I would have watched Carly Bible, Nicole Guerra, I think her name is. Those are two Casey Holmes. They really are sticking out to me, and I would have absolutely been glued to them, to their makeup tutorials and stuff like that. And now I suppose it's kind of moved on, and I am loving Molly May's YouTube vlogs. Absolutely adore her. Lucy Georgia. My friend Bob's Vlogs has also started a YouTube channel, and they are my favorite vlogs. But yeah, I just think it would be cool to be someone else's comfort creator, when you're sitting down eating your dinner and you want to pop a YouTube on and I've uploaded and you want to watch me. I just think that's amazing. And I've already uploaded one vlog, and I really enjoyed the process of filming it and editing it. So even though it took a long time, hopefully I get faster. But I think that it will be such a passion project, so I'm really glad that I'm here. Because I love watching vlogs so much, I really want to create vlogs, but not just I suppose surface level vlogs. I want to get into the nitty gritty emotions of how I'm feeling and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, when it comes to mental fitness and psychology and rewiring my brain and building my business. I want to show behind the scenes of that, because something that is so important is being able to see other people living in the life that you want to create yourself. So if you are someone who wants to rewire their mind or do work on themselves, self-develop themselves, work on their mental fitness, it's really important that you're surrounding yourself with people who are doing the same. And sometimes that can't happen in person. because sometimes your friends or sometimes your family just aren't into it, and it can be really disheartening when you have nobody to look to, or nobody that's kind of in that same mindset, same way of thinking. And I think if I could be that person for one person, that would be amazing. You know, someone who is on that same wavelength, who is also trying to make their brain the happiest place that they can possibly be, and make it a place that believes in them, and is always in abundance. So yeah, that is some of the content that I want to create. And also I want to teach. I want to give out free content. I want to teach you ways to rewire your mind, or to level up your confidence, or to attract whatever it is that you want, or build your mental fitness to actually be able to achieve your goals, reach your potential. So I really want to get to a place where I'm uploading a vlog a week, and also like a sit down chatty video where I'm also like teaching or sharing some insight about something that you can hopefully take away and use to make your life better. A bit of a backstory on me then. Who am I? Who am I? I have recently become self-employed. I love all things psychology, mindset, neuroscience. I'm nearly done my master's in performance psychology after studying an undergrad in psychology as well. So I have studied psychology for 5 years, and to say that I'm obsessed, to say that it's my passion, is honestly the understatement of the year. And I understand that like it's such a privilege to actually be in a position that like what I work in, what I absolutely love doing, is actually what I call my job. So that is super special to me, and it definitely didn't just happen. Like I've had to do a lot of work on myself, and I don't believe in luck or anything like that. I think we create our own luck, and definitely like looking through the story of my life, you can see that I have clearly made decisions and put in the aligned action and behaviors behind where I am today. Like it hasn't just happened, and that's kind of something that I do want to emphasize, that like there's nothing special about me. Like there's no reason why I'm here doing this work and that you can't also follow whatever your dream is. There's nothing different about you and me. Maybe just the fact that I have made the decision to train my brain to seek out the potential and to seek out the opportunities in life. And I just want to tell you that like that is also so something that you can also do as well. So yeah, there's nothing special about me. If there's anything extraordinary about me, it's my mindset, and that's something that I've worked on because it's a skill. It's all a trainable skill. That's what I suppose I want to help you with throughout this YouTube channel and throughout these videos, and to just give you an insight of like how I'm actually doing that. I suppose this journey started when I was in college and I was studying my undergrad in psychology. I didn't love my undergrad. I think your undergrad in psychology is very general, and my first impression of it was like so bad that I actually tried to change 2 weeks in. After working so hard to get my first choice in the Leaving Cert, I actually tried to change it and go into like a communications course in DCU instead, and thankfully they said no, that I had actually missed the deadline by like 1 day, which absolutely thank God, because if I didn't study the first psychology degree I couldn't have got my master's and I wouldn't be where I am today. So that all definitely worked out for a reason, but I didn't love it. And like that's not to diss DCU psychology course or anything like that. It's just a bachelor's of science in psychology. It's very broad. There's so many disciplines that you have to cover to get like a full scope of human behavior, of course. And there's also a lot of statistics in it, and SPSS, if anybody knows. If you know, you know. And I just hated that. I knew I wanted to be people facing, and there's very little to none of that in an undergrad psychology course. But yeah, I loved the college experience for the most part. and also equally struggled as well for some of it. Of course, not like loving the course was a little bit hard at times, but I knew I just had to make my way through it so that I could go on and study the masters in my preferred discipline. And also I wasn't in a mentally good place in college. Now, looking back, it didn't really click with me that I wasn't. Like, I wasn't really aware of how bad my mental state actually was and was getting for quite a couple of years. And I suppose the pivotal point of that kind of change in me, where things like started to go downhill, was a relationship breakup. And this 100% had to happen, and it was the best thing for the both of us. But that relationship was probably masking how I felt, and I hadn't like been alone since I was 16. So when you are like kind of thrown then into being alone and actually like sitting with yourself, things come up, and my mental health got exponentially worse. And it was kind of the first time that I could put a label on my anxiety, and I had never before. Now, looking back through primary school, through secondary school, there are instances now that I can see that were anxiety, but I never put two and two together there. This was the first time that I could like really feel it in my chest, really feel it in my belly, that it was like debilitating my life, that I actually couldn't function with how anxious I was getting. I suppose that was kind of where all of this journey began. And life is funny, like it will give you the worst time ever in order to like propel you forward into exactly your mission, your purpose. And I couldn't believe in that more, that I needed to go through that like 3-4 year period of absolute turmoil to get where I am today. Yeah, it really dealt with a lot of anxiety there. Turned to alcohol, which I was very fond of doing. I used alcohol as a mask for everything since I started drinking. I never had a healthy relationship with alcohol. It always masked something, whether that was confidence, loneliness, my relationship with myself, my mental health, my poor mental health. It always masked something, and when I was thrown into feeling that anxious, I turned to it big time. And I suppose for the whole of second year of college, was drinking really, really heavily, putting myself in bad situations, doing things that I shouldn't have been doing to people that I really, really cared for. I never would have done it in a sane mind, but alcohol takes that sane mind straight from me. Yeah, that was kind of the pattern that was emerging. And at this point, March of my second year of college, the whole world shut down for a reason that I'm sure you know. So at that point, we were all sent home, and we were all sent home to be alone for a long time. And that got crazy fast, and of course the anxiety got worse. But here is where I actually found like meditation, journaling, for the very, very first time. It's the first time that I would have done like yoga, anything of the sorts, and that was actually through Sinead Hegarty and Siobhan O'Hagan. So they were girls that I followed on Instagram at this time, and they were living in Bali at the time, and they were like preaching this life of self-development through journaling, meditation, and all of the likes. And it was honestly life-changing. Like, it really did help, but only for a short amount of time, because unfortunately the world opened back up and the pubs opened back up, and that's where I could have been found then for the next 2 years. Yeah, I had gotten into really, really good routines of looking after my mental health. I was finally in a much better place, or so I thought, and then everything opened back up and my identity became drinking. And partying hard, and I was in the pub from Thursday till Sunday and went to work on Monday an absolute shell of myself, and this cycle repeated for about 2 years, and it was insane. It was absolutely insane what I put my body through at that time. If I would have one regret in life, it would be that time period and the careless behaviours that I partook in, but we don't regret because there's literally no point. It's done, and I'm just happy that I saw sense. That continued until 2022 when I actually made the decision to leave Ireland. In the midst of all this, I'd met my partner, and myself and Robbie went to primary school with each other, so I mean I didn't really meet him then. I always knew him, he was always in my life. Rekindled over that time because everybody was back at home and stuff. Nearly 5 years now, and that's the best thing that ever could have happened for the both of us. And I feel really strongly about that because when we got together back in 2021, like, we were both two completely different people. We were so reckless. And the both of us 5 years on are two completely different people, completely unrecognizable to those two 21-year-olds who decided that it would be a good idea to get together. I suppose in these situations, you either grow together or you grow apart, and I am just so grateful that we have continued to grow together, and through everything that I've taken on and started social media, started my business, went self-employed, Robbie has been an absolute rock for me and the biggest support that I ever could have asked for. So I suppose that's a very big part of my life and one that I hold very close to my heart. We actually made the decision together to leave Ireland at that point. We were running 100%. We were running away from situations here and I suppose ourselves, didn't believe that we could be different people here in Ireland, and really started to hate on Ireland, which is not how I feel now at all. But that's definitely where we got to. I was going on a J1 to Chicago, he was going on a J1 to New York, and we made the decision then to stay in New York for a year, and that was the wildest experience of my life, to put it very lightly. I moved to New York in that August with absolutely no money. When I tell you no money, I mean absolutely no money. I might have had $200 to my name. We had no accommodation. I had no job. He had a job because he was continuing the job that he was in for the summer, but he was getting really, really little hours. It's still a fever dream that whole time. We had to stay in this neighborhood way outside of New Jersey. It was an hour train away. We were house sitting this huge 3-story house, and we had that for a while we tried to find accommodation, and then stayed in Robbie's manager's apartment, and it was an amazing apartment looking across to the Empire State Building. It was the stuff of dreams, but we were on a blow-up mattress in his sitting room. It was no way our reality. I was actually meant to work in the place that Robbie worked in, so I thought I had a job moving to New York, and then his manager was like, look, we actually don't want couples working together, which is very fair, and I'm very thankful that we actually didn't work together because we ended up getting a studio apartment and it was just us over there, so that would have been very, very intense. So yeah, I had no job, we had no accommodation, we had no place to live at this time for about 3 weeks, and there is no better form of character building than being homeless and broke in New York and having absolutely no way to get out of it but to just get through it. And that's what we did, and we secured that studio apartment. Still don't even know how we did it. It really showed us such a different side of ourselves. We're gonna make this work. There is no quitting here, and that stood to us tenfold over the years, and it has done, because we've never been as low as that. We've never been as broke in a foreign country with nowhere to stay and no job for me. So yeah, it was insane, and it was such a good experience. So yeah, I eventually did get a job in an Irish bar, and everything was going great until it wasn't, and that is when my panic attacks started. Life is funny. It will not let you get comfortable in a life that you are not meant to be in. While I was making so much money, so much freedom, so much stability in it, I knew that that's not what I wanted to do. I did not want to spend years working in a bar. I knew that I had other passions. It was that unalignment in my life that caused huge anxiety, huge panic, and would not let me settle, just would not let me settle there. And I believe 100% that it was the universe telling me, like, you need to make a better decision here because this is not where you're staying. The panic attacks were absolutely insane, and only for Robbie in those times, I honestly don't know where I'd be, because my mental health had never been so low. Like, it was on the absolute floor. That was my absolute breaking point. I didn't trust myself to be left alone. I also couldn't trust myself to leave the apartment alone. My head was in such a bad place, and at this time I was trying to journal because I thought it would help me, and it helped me before, but at this point it was way too deep, and journaling was never going to shift something that was stuck in me so somatically. Of course, I did not have the knowledge of this at this time, but that's what was going on. So yeah, like, absolutely crazy. And we ultimately then made the decision that we actually needed to go home because I was actually completely losing myself. I really wasn't okay. Every time one of those panic attacks would come, like, I genuinely thought it was the end. I didn't see myself getting out of it. I remember saying to myself, like, I actually can't live like this. Like, I cannot continue to live like this. And really scary when you're having those thoughts, you know, and it's wild to me that that's still the brain that I have today, and how different it is from that point is absolutely off the chart. Yeah, we made the decision to come home. Even landing back in Ireland, I felt such a relief, but it still wasn't okay. I still wasn't okay. So fast forward, then we also made the decision then to spend 3 months in Ireland and then go to Australia, because we needed to go again. We needed to run again, and Ireland couldn't give us the life that we wanted and all of this stuff. So actually ended up moving to Australia then, and I'm saying it as if it wasn't the best thing that I ever did. It was absolutely the best thing that I've ever done. We landed in Sydney, and of course that was difficult again. Landing in a new country is always going to be difficult. There's going to be so many challenges, but the character development again that comes from it is absolutely second to none. It was a much smoother experience than New York, and I suppose this is where everything changed for me. So I was still experiencing very high levels of anxiety, and something just came over me one day, and I was like, I actually need to do something about this. In America, I had reached out for help. I had tried to go for therapy. Did not have the best experience at all, and I would really just recommend, if you're in a position where you need to ask for help, like, just trying to find someone who's actually like open, if that's online or if that's on their website, or, you know, just like open about who they are and the qualifications and stuff, because I just did not have a good experience. And when you actually have the courage to reach out for help and you don't have a good experience with that, it can really deter you from reaching out for help again, and it's just not nice. I actually got told to just join a Catholic church and that would change everything. I was in the height of my panic attacks. So yeah, so I was in Australia, I was in Sydney, and I was like, okay, something's gonna have to change here. And randomly on TikTok just looked up breathwork. Like, had heard a little bit about it, but I don't really know if it was even in my like consciousness. It was nearly like a subconscious pull. Went to my first breathwork session, and my life was absolutely changed. Absolutely changed. For the first time, I could get out of my head and into my body and actually shift what was happening inside of me, and get rid of years of tension, of stress, of little traumas that had built up, and it was absolutely life-changing. And from there I decided to become a breathwork facilitator, and I suppose that kicked off everything. Like that absolutely changed my world. Around this time I also went alcohol free. I'm now 2 years alcohol free, so it was like a wild ride. It was so life changing. Like I can't even put words to it. Like it's absolutely insane. A month after I went alcohol free, I actually started my Instagram. Back then it was called Bui Within, and it was just solely breathwork. And I started holding events, and I met some of my best friends, genuine like soul friends that I knew that were meant to be in my life instantly. And that was like the best experience. I started taking one-to-ones in my apartment in Sydney and started running, ran my first half marathon. Like there was such an immense shift. What I put it down to is that like innate decision that was in me. It was like, I am getting a hold of this. Something literally took over me. It was like, and pushed me into this. And from then on, then it was like this, okay, this is a life path that you're going to be on. So yeah, started breathwork regularly, started training my mind, really got to know myself, who I am, started working with a coach, done The Secret, which is actually such a hack, done The Magic, which is such a hack, which is a gratitude practice that literally made my life so abundant, and I still use the framework in that today. And since then my life is so abundant. And like I always would have said that, like I always would have been the person who was like, oh, like nothing like that ever works out for me. Everything's just harder for me, and that's just the way it is. Once I started training that, like everything changed. Of course it did, you know, like your internal environment is such a representation of what your external environment is going to become, and it just couldn't have been truer for me. Yeah, everything changed in that time, and I suppose that's what started everything, and that's why I'm on this mission to help as many people get to where they want to be in life, because life is just way too short. Like, why are we holding back? Like, why are we stopping ourselves from experiencing life to the absolute fullest because our brain is so anxious, our brain is overthinking, ruminating, and everything? Life isn't meant to be lived that way. It's in your control. It is your decision to train your brain to think differently so that you can show up differently in all aspects of your life. And I will not stop preaching this. It is the absolute hill that I will die on. But yeah, so that was the most insane, profound experience of my life, and for some reason I got such a calling to come home. We were probably only in Sydney 6 months. I had gone through so many shifts in my life, so much had happened, and I had an insane calling to come home. Like I just knew in my bones that I had to come home, and that was so weird at the time. And I was like, what, like why do I feel like this? Because I had never felt like Ireland could be a place that I would live, could be a place that that could hold the life that I wanted to live. But yet I had such like an intuition calling that I just had to go home. And like I know that shocked so many people, because they were like, oh my god, like you absolutely love it here, like you're thriving here, Sydney suits you so much. But when you get a feeling like that, like there's no ignoring it. You cannot ignore it. And at the time it was the scariest thing ever, because like Ireland didn't know this version of me. I didn't have any friends in Ireland anymore. There was nobody that I felt like, oh my god, I could go back and like be myself with. So the absolute most daunting experience ever, but it has obviously worked out better than I could have ever imagined. So yeah, we made the decision to come home, travel New Zealand on our way home, which was the trip of a lifetime. I went to Bali again, and now I'm home like a year and a half, and I can wholeheartedly say it was the best decision for me, for my business, for literally everything. And there was a reason why I was getting called to come home so much, and I know what that is now, and I know I was meant to bring all of this home, and it just felt right straight away, and everything started aligning in the way that it should have. But yeah, it's been amazing. It's been a wild ride, and I suppose like that was all outside of Ireland, and coming back to Ireland of course had its challenges, but I'm just so grateful for the life that I've been able to build for myself here. And I just think that like it's magic is here if you're willing to open your eyes and see it. If you are constantly being negative about Ireland, if you are constantly talking about Ireland from a negative stance and pointing out its problems, every single country in this world has problems, okay? If you are going to constantly pick them out here, that is all you're going to see, okay? Your brain is seeking for evidence the whole time of what you're feeding it. So if you're constantly feeding it that Ireland is shit, there's no opportunity here, you can't live a good life here, that is all you're going to see, and that's the evidence that's going to come true. You create your own reality. So I was so deliberate with my mindset when I was coming back that I wasn't going to speak like that. I wasn't going to put that out there, because that's what I was going to then subconsciously try to find. So I came back with a whole new mindset, a whole new perspective on Ireland. And honestly, that is the key. The grass is greener where you water it, and it's as simple as that. Now I will say I was absolutely blessed with the group of friends that I found here. Like, I met the girls, I put myself out there, made myself so uncomfortable, did the uncomfortable thing, went to a run club that I had been seeing online, went alone. And that one uncomfortable thing absolutely changed my life. Like, from that, I have made the best group of friends ever, the most supportive group of friends. Like, I can't even explain these girls. Sometimes they don't actually seem real, because what do you mean every single one of these girls is so supportive, is actually rooting for me. And that's something that I feel like I didn't get in other friendships. So to come home and to find that is absolutely insane. Since that, some of the girls that I met in Australia also came home. So I feel like I have such a good support system here, which of course is such a help. But it all came from me doing the uncomfortable thing first. I set up my business here, I've got my dream apartment here, I live by the sea. I genuinely couldn't be happier with the life that we've created in Ireland. But yeah, I just really want to keep reiterating the point that like it didn't just happen. Like, none of this is by chance. All of this is like a very deliberate reality that I could envision and see for myself before even coming home. And that's the basis of how you create your reality. And I'd love to create more videos on that and actually explain it to you, if that's something that you would want to see. But I've been talking for 27 minutes here in this one clip, and I know that there's other clips before this, so I feel like I need to stop chatting. Yeah, I suppose that's a bit of an introduction to me. I hope that I've like actually like explained myself, and I hope this has given you a bit of more of an insight into my life and like what I do and why I am so passionate to help people feel the best that they possibly can in themselves and actually find peace, just reach their potential, like be the person that they know deep down they can be. And that is my mission, and I will not stop talking about it. But if you enjoyed, if you liked getting to know me, I would love if you would subscribe and dive into my world a little bit more through my vlogs, and hopefully through my teachings as well, in more sit down videos like this. Once I get going, I can absolutely yap for Ireland. I actually fear this is going to be like 40 minutes. That is just an insight into my life. Of course there's so much more, and of course we'll get into more of it, but I hope that has given you a bit of an introduction to me and makes you feel like you know me a little bit more, so that you want to follow along. The next video will probably be a vlog, so stay tuned for that. And if you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you so soon. Thank you.